Hello everybody, this is Indu Das, and today I thought that I'll share with you the my ancestry migration mapping that I did using the DNA analysis from 23andMe. So as you can see, I'm a typical Indian dude from rural Bihar, and like most of us, I was deeply interested in finding out where my ancestry lineage is, where did it come from, all sorts of questions, right? So what I did was I ended up having two approaches for that. One was I naturally tried to do the family tree analysis, and for which, as you can see, we have a very good tool available for people, I think in most of the places in India. And next, I also did the DNA haplogroup analysis. So come talking about the family tree, as I was mentioning earlier, I'm from rural Bihar, and in our caste, and I'm thinking in other castes also in Bihar, there is somebody called Panjikar, which is essentially a registrar like position. And in that, what happens is that those people they make a record of every marriages that happens in India, so, or that happens in their caste system. So they record the the parents, the meaning the father, the grandfather, etc. Unfortunately, they don't record the women's name. Unfortunately, but they record all the things from the bride side as well as from the groom side. So you can see these records. They look something like this. And so I sat with one of the persons like that who practice this Panjikari system for generations, and they showed me all the records. They pulled out the. He was kind enough to pull out my own record and then started sharing with me the names. And and I was very surprised that by the time everything was said and done, we could find the record for 15 generations above me, meaning my 13th great grandparents, a person called, his name was Mr. Suhankar Das. So we could go all the way till him, and that means close to 400 years. So I have a record of 400 years. The good thing is they were all in and around my hometown. So we know for sure nobody came from outside. There was no foreign influence in our ancestry up to 400 years. But anyway, next I moved to the DNA analysis, and as I was telling you, use the procedure from a company called 23andMe. There they send you a tube, and you have to spit in the tube, and that's where they figure out the DNA from both the cells, mitochondrial cell, mitochondria, as well as the Y chromosome. And in my case, in the maternal side, my haplogroup came out to be R30B. So in that group, as you can see, things have started from, I think this is a typo here, about 180,000 years ago. Um, every human being traces back to his or her root to a lady in Africa, South in Eastern Central Africa, and that's where my also ancestry traces back to. And then about that's the haplogroup L, and that's like I think Lake Victoria, Tanzania region. That's where it traces back to. And then about 65,000 years ago, they moved a group of people from there. They moved up north, and this is the L3 group. And then about 58,000 years ago, a small band of those people they crossed the Red Sea. Now, whether they crossed the Red Sea from Arabian Peninsula into the Arabian Peninsula from the southern portion, like Bab el Mande, this thing, or whether from the northern portion, that part is still debatable a little bit. But irrespective, they crossed the Arabian Sea and they went into the Arabian Peninsula, and that group is recognized by haplogroup N. And from there, about later, 2000 years later, they crossed into the other part of Asia, and from there they started moving to different parts, as you can see, from here, and here. So my group was naturally the one that came southern, and that's all I have all little 57,000 years ago. The haplogroup R, which came all the way to the India, as you can see, to the India, and from later on to to all the way to Australia. So that's what I'm the part of the group. RB, I think they also have some traces of 51,000 years earlier. And the problem that I have is that in my group, in 23andMe, they did not have a lot of sample for R30B. So that's why they could not decipher anything beyond 51,000 years ago on the maternal side. But on the pattern, or one more thing on the maternal side is that this same R group that branched out into other groups like H, J, T, V, and U, and it's basically all group except H, except U. That's the one that came to Central Asia as well as India. So I was the part of that group. Not I, but my distant ancestral line, maternal ancestral line. Coming back on the paternal side, as you know, that analysis is done by the Y chromosome, and here the record that they found was a little bit older than on the maternal side. So the story starts at, but before that, my haplogroup is RZ94, and here the story starts with a group called A, the 275,000 years ago, a male. Again, Central East Asia, Africa, that's where the story starts. Like my maternal group, they also crossed the Red Sea on the Arabian side to the Arabian Peninsula about 76,000 years ago. So a little bit, almost at the same time, but not exactly the same. I mean, 5,000, about 10,000 dollars, 10,000 years later or earlier than my maternal group, and that came into FM89 group. Um, and from that group, that diverted into KM90 group about 53,000 years ago, and group that went into the Southwest Asia, and from there it became to RM207 group about 35,000 years ago. It went up north a little bit to the western steppes of Asia and Central Asia. From there, it again further came down to RM20 group, and that was about 25,000 years ago. So this one M207 is 35,000, and RM420 is 25,000, and in the Iranian plateau area. So that's where they came 25,000, and from there they went moved up, and as you can see, moved up, and then it branched out into different branches. And mine is RZ94, as I was telling, and that particular branch came all the way to India through the Central Asia region. Again, my group is not very common in 23andMe sample, and that's why that's the latest that I have. I was also interested in knowing that what is going on with my um, Neanderthal side. So I know that, as you know, that most of the human beings have some very small traces of Neanderthal. In my case, that's the same. It was less than 2%. Most of the human beings have about 1%. So it says in the 23andMe DNA sample, mine Neanderthal part is 94% more than others. I do not know what that means, but if you look deeper into their analysis, then it will tell you what are the traits that gets impacted by that DNA. So anyway, that's all I have. I hope this thing was informative, and if you are as curious as me, then there are a lot of services that you can avail to do your own DNA analysis. Thank you so much.